Hey, how's it going? So, today I would like to say a few words about light and also just kind of ramble about some other things that may or may not be consequential. And I have some cards and I have a little something, very small something to read. So, I was wanting to get in the right state of mind. Ooh, stuttering. Get in the right state of mind here to record. And I had taken some notes yesterday, just a couple of phrases, but if I wrote them down, I wanted to examine them later and expand upon them, but then I can't find it. So that's like a theme now. Something I want to utilize in particular just turns up missing. Oh, let me interrupt myself to ask you to look at my signs, and well, maybe I'll just put that down for a minute. Well, let me let you look at the signs first, because the light helps illuminate the sign. So yeah. Okay. And it also makes a glare on my glasses, which I'm not enjoying, so I'm just going to put that down. That's enough light. It's adjustable. The light is. And you could take that word in so many forms. It's not even, I was going to say it's not even funny. That's no unit of measurement. So also, I would like to do a return for a moment to the folicle focus and talk about, this will come under the heading of light as well, because I was filling out a form and it has that security procedure that you have to show a document to verify who you are, which I totally have, but the thing is, when the picture was taken on the document, I was lighter in weight, and also I had way more hair. And what I have going on right now is I don't have a treatment on it for the alopecia, so it's more foofy. And then also I slept on it, so. But I left it before I fix it and make it more presentable to illustrate the fact that your appearance can change. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I was not able to verify my appearance using the ID card. And there's a sort of a trend of companies that you patronize being as unavailable and uninterested in anything but your bill being paid. Have you, I mean, I don't know, that sounded like there was a comma there, but you could fill in any more blanks. There's like an open level of contempt about the customer. And so the president was inaugurated, I don't know, yesterday, the day before, something like that, Monday. And look who was behind the president on the dais during, I don't know, some important part. I saw several reports on it online that people were like, oh my God, look, he's there, from like different channels. Like, there was something from MSNBC and about like who was positioned behind Donald Trump and how it was remarkable. And it is. I mean, you could say they were sort of always there behind presidents in the shadows, I bet, on the occasion of either party winning the presidency. So now they're just like out in the light where you can see them. They don't care if you see. And I think that links back to the thing that I was saying before about like the customer service. Those are the words I should have used, but you get in front of the camera, you may have heard people say this and you forget your words. So, but yeah, customer service kind of is more self-serving for the company. Like when you can get a live person on the phone, depending on the company, depending on their veracity, I guess, they will be helpful in direct proportion, like either not at all or a little bit, or with some things, not necessarily the thing you need help with, and then you're just SOL because the help, it just isn't there. And other people probably know how to track stuff like that down, but they're they're computer nerds, and I'm not a computer nerd. Sorry, computer nerds. I would like to be one, though. Anyway, so that's an example of light breaking and shining on the so-called swamp. I always thought it was hilarious that he was saying that, Trump, that he was gonna drain the swamp, and I always knew you're gonna be like one of the sediments like left behind. And I was right. Kathy was right. Where's my hat? Yeah, I don't even know how to, like, gotta produce some of them. Not. But I was thinking that it's times when you feel like the most desperate, or you think things are like, this is hopeless, it's just not gonna work, and you kind of give up, and we can be reminded of this previous presidency that this guy had, where they had sort of a hindrance to their ability to operate because of all of who they all are. It's kind of like the darker motivations. I guess when all of the seats of power are sort of shoving each other out of the way, kind of to gain favor with the throne or the tip of the pyramid scheme, whatever. Because, I mean, that people have been saying it for years, but there it is. You can't miss it. It's got a spotlight shone on it. Light, there it is again. But, when you are in the face of something like that and you want to keep it light so you don't have an anxiety attack or, go catatonic or something, just to, have a safe space. That's not necessarily the healthiest way to go. Like, you kind of gotta be in the world. You kind of gotta actually be in the swamp and just, learn how to swim, or, you do what you gotta do, because some things are just inevitable, because they're part of the world. Like, maybe there's a world where it's not this bipolar, and I can't imagine it, which is why I was laughing. That's so sad. I think I can imagine it. I just can't imagine it here. So I think that's something we all kind of got to work on. And I think one way of doing that is to just not go sour and dour, or dour, or however the hell you pronounce that, but dour and sour all the time. Like, inevitability is inescapable sometimes. So again, where are you gonna go? Especially right now, because it's like a virus, it's like a pandemic. The same kind of thing is happening in very many of the nations on the planet. It's really kind of like, wow, interesting, compelling, you know. But you don't want to look at that too long either, because then it just makes it feel like the inescapableness of the inevitability is existential, and that can lead, if you're already in a bad way, you don't want to go more down that particular rabbit hole. I'm just saying, gallows humor is a thing for a reason. I mean, it came into being however it came into being. Maybe it's a coping mechanism. Okay, you know, you can't just be a pressure cooker. You got to have a valve, or, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those things explode, but don't be standing next to it. That's all I can say. That's not all I can say. If you don't know what it is, it's like it's under pressure and the seal breaks for whatever reason, and all of the pressure flies at you, and it's steam and it's hot contents, and it's not good. It makes a huge mess. It gets you in big trouble. It's not a good thing. And there's pain involved. Hi, I guess it's a drooly day. It's these fake teeth. As I was saying, gotta keep it light or you'll lose your freaking mind, I think. That leads me to, maybe I'm not going to read the thing because I'm just kind of saying all of the stuff. It's good if I can keep it short and it really is notes, and then like I can recall it easily and not have to refer to the thing, because I feel like I have no idea how it's taken. Like, I don't know if I should be doing it or not, but today it's small, so I feel like I don't need it. I like to read it for purely egotistical reasons. I mean, there's like a message there, but I like the way I say it. I just want to familiarize people with it, so maybe if you like it, eventually I intend to start asking for money for what I'm writing. Not here. Well, maybe. We'll see, you know. The future's... We'll see. So anyway, I kind of hit on a point about the rheostat, and I didn't know what it was the first time I heard the word, so I'm going to say what it is just in case people don't, but it's the dimmer switch on a light fixture. So, again with the light, but the dimmer switch kind of really, you know, I don't know if it was there to evoke a mood, but it definitely does. It, I think, was definitely advertised to, you know, as such, which is fine. I enjoy the idea of something like that, you know. I don't like harsh light. I like yellow light, you know, like that warm orangey tone. And I was thinking that it is the difference between like a harsh white light. I'm going to flip my light up again and see if it's gone down in glare factor. Yeah, a little bit. Because it's a night light. It's not, I have like a other light up there too, like a bright one, like right in front of me. But it's small. I like the way the two of them kind of, I guess, blend with each other, and there's like maybe I'm dreaming, but there's like, you can see, you know, there's a definition, and it's not harsh. And this is something, I don't think it made it into the notes, but I had seen a documentary I think it was not a couple of months ago, like last year sometime. And I started watching it because I love Star Trek, and if you are surprised by that, then I'm surprised if you watch this channel. But yes, I love Star Trek, and oh, that reminds me, where'd Grogu go? Oh, he must be behind the sign. Well, anyway, that's Star Wars. I do know the difference. So anyway, she saved Star Trek. It, like, it only had 3 seasons, the original series. Hi, Puffer. And that was a shame. It kind of ended, like, I didn't know about it until it was in syndication for many years. I think I discovered it, I don't even know, man. It's like 1976, 1975. So at least a decade after it ended, and whatever. I don't have the numbers like totally engraved in my mind. But the point is, that is why I started watching it. But it was also just talking about Lucille Ball, who owned the studio that, that produced Star Trek, and then she made it happen with the network for Star Trek to be on there. Like, she was quite the business lady and wheeler and dealer in that town back then, which was not and still isn't led by women. Anyway, she was talking about lighting, like as far as being on stage, and she had, and then there was like interspersed in her speaking, there were like, well, clips of younger actresses rather. Not like men couldn't take advantage of this knowledge or this information, but they said that because of her, they knew that there was like a good side to have the light on the most. Like, you want to, obviously you want to have a whole face and stuff, but you want to take the most advantage of your good side. And there were ways that she came up with to light how you look in the studio, and just to make yourself look the best in the, like, to portray yourself in the best light. Light. But I remember that like very well, because you know what else I have besides these two little, small portable lights that you like stick up wherever and put on a little stand, because one of them is intended for doing this, is my hood light on my stove. It's hood. It keeps it gangster. But it's not harsh and white. I don't think I have any more of those in my house. Like, I just got rid of them because I don't like it. But I don't have lights on that often either. It depends on the need, You gotta temper the brightness and tone of the light you need. I mean, without knowing about a lot of different things like art, where like in painting, natural light, or even still filming, natural light is everything. Like, that's what you want. That's what looks the most real, looks best, and it's its best side. It puts everything in its best light. And then when you go to artificial light, you have to like make all these adjustments. You have to, choose the tone and the brightness, and so that's like that rheostat thing. But that applies to us as people, and light can be reflected, light can be taken in, it can be curved, so that might do something weird to it. I'm just saying that there's so many shades of light that there can be. And then when it comes to we ourselves, we have to be the one to adjust that. And then like, as I was writing it, it was like, you have to think about it, I guess, in terms of yourself as also like, what is it that's going to make you need, what is going to make you need to adjust the light? Like, what is going to change the temperature of the thermostat? You scared me, Puffer. I'm not right now, honey. I think he wants more food or attention or something. Do you want to come up here? You want to come up? I guess he wants to come up. Hi. Stop talking? Not yet. Soon. Ouch. point is about the we adjusting our own rheostats, tempering our own light or intake of light, even, because there's even a thing like polarized windows that you can adjust the amount of light that you want to be able to come through the windows. I don't have a stat unit of measurement thing for that tool, but that's also like an illustration of how you can be like, through the way the light comes through the window. I feel like you can, what is the word, analogy, I guess you can use it as an analogy for how are you allowing external light in the form of like pressures that cause anxiety or excitement or joy, you know, or rage. Like, you're allowed to control through your polarized windows what light amount and type is allowed to come in. So yeah, I mean, we have so much control over all of that stuff. You know, we're in this sort of whatever, we're in the simulation, and it's like set up, it's the role playing, you know, and right now it's like the game is, it seems like it's already been decided what world we want to live in, doesn't it? But I guess nothing's written in stone about all this stuff. I mean, you can look at it one way, and it's kind of dark, but you need maybe to turn up your internal light, or, you know, open a window or something, or even go outside into the light, and thereby, you know, expose yourself to more than just your dark thoughts or whatever. Oh, that's all just such a mashup, but I knew it was going to be that way. So I had pulled, whoa, what was that? I don't know if it was a hiccup or a cough or what. And then it didn't even happen. So, you know, in light of, I can't even just confine what I'm talking about to the United States, because, like I said, there's sort of blisters and pustules of this Mean King stuff happening all over the world. Mean King and all their minions. So, first card from the Shaman Stream Oracle deck is number 44, Perfect Storm. 4 and 4 is 8. I'm just going to do a lookup right now, because that feels like the right thing to do about the number 8 in the context of living in darkness and adjusting your light accordingly. Oh, right. Go out of here. Getting messages about kitten kitten videos. Well, they always make me laugh. That's why I keep them on hand. That's what I get for trying to talk in the middle of writing. Of numero ocho. Ocho. What the hell is ocho? Bad Spanish. Mild, for shame. Okay. Oh, isn't that interesting? Spiritually, heart's desire number 8. I didn't ask for heart's desire. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, spiritually, heart's desire number 8 indicates an inner authority and empowerment. So, in the context, I did ask for something in context. In the context of what I was saying, you have all of the control over You are the authority over empowerment, inner authority and empowerment. That means you have control over how you feel. Again, with the adjustments and the rheostat and the tempering and the polarity, the polarity, yes, it's just there. Also inescapable and inevitable. But people manage to successfully maneuver in there too, don't they? And it doesn't have to be like, I mean, if you were drawing a comic book, look, my brain's all, I wish I could draw a comic book like this, like my brain is thinking, but the picture of the president with all of those business entities behind him, and like even the way they were standing, they were like moving a little, like swaying, and it just kind of made me think that they were like jostling each other for like the best position. And then like just the yeah, it like I said, it was always there, but you know, you make those, you take the authority, take the initiative with yourself, and you know, do you want to let it scare the crap out of you, or do you want to just be like, that is a thing, and so other things can be happening at the same time. Never forget. Ooh, that didn't look very nice at all. Sorry. So, Perfect Storm, and the subtitle is The Courage to Step into Life. I could say a lot of stuff about blackbirds, but I'm gonna just confine it to the messenger of, it's kind of dark and messed up. Like, look at the background. Like a full-on storm trying to happen, and the energy is so intense coming out of there. You see the lightning's going into like the heart of the bird. It's it's knocked feathers flying. It's quite a jolt. But look at the bird's face. It's just like, yeah, fire. You know, it's not. It's unbothered. Maybe the eyes are a bit intense, but the posture is like not even, except for the loss of the feathers, not even windy. You know, it's just like, I'm a rook on the rock. I don't know if that's the right bird, but so it's stable. The number 8 also, that's 4s. 4s indicate like foundational stability. So, you know, while the conflagration of the storm, well, there's no fire, but there's some fiery energy, though, you know. There's electricity all over the place. You know, and that starts fires quite often. We don't have those, so let's not go there, but I'm just saying, it's standing there throughout this, like, turbulence, and just kind of like, yeah! So, I don't know, maybe take a note from that. The next one is the number 8, 9. The number 9 card, dances on one foot, balancing act. So, the frail flower ballerina, the thing about this picture is always like, is it a plant or is it a bug that looks like a plant so it won't get eaten? It hardly matters, because I'm just noticing, still thinking of that storm in the previous card, the wings. Oh jeez, I didn't get my thingy out. They kind of look like makeshift sails. I mean, maybe they're perfect sails for what that particular plant, possibly bug, needs in a high wind, you know, like, what do I know about animal aeronautics? Zero. Plant, nothing about that either. I don't know. I'm just kind of, it just kind of seems like I can imagine it happening, you know? Like, wind coming up and just floop! Ow! Oh my gosh! But those wing flap drape deals coming down and just like sailing on like the wind currents, no problem. All these little, I don't even know what you call them, petal, leaflet, sprouty, I don't know, plant stuff, just in the wind fluttering, and but not like coming off, just adjusting again with the adjustments to the wind currents. And then also, you know, you're up there in the light too, and that makes the currents warmer, which also does something. I'm hesitant to commit to it, but I think it adds like a velocity situation with the warmth. I caveat it. What can I say? So the subtitle on here is Balancing Act. This, you know, you see it's not taken to the air, but like I said, I also had in mind that previous card, and look, it has droplets on it, on the thing I think is a wing here. Well, the droplets are everywhere, so maybe storm just passed through. But the number 9, I want to mention here too, is also like the just ahead of completion number in numerology. And back to the subtitle of Balancing Act, it looks like this thing, this whatever it is, would be moved by the slightest breeze. So not blown up in the air. It's just like, you know, it's dancing on 2 feet because the ground is not stable underneath, or the currents around it are moving it, and you have to, you know, again, make adjustments. The next card is number 40, Mindful. Subtitle is Groupthink. So there's a, hold on, I'm just gonna, is that in focus? Oh, sorry for the up the nose shot. I hate that. I just need to see if it's in focus. It's not. Come on. Okay, there we go. Now see, I was thinking it was going to be a different card that I pulled. I might be thinking of a different deck, so I'm just giving you a good long look before I stare at it for a minute. Well, I'll tell you what, Mindful is definitely what we have. And this has been a conversation that I was hearing a lot of today in particular. And it's that we need to spend less time in front of screens. And, you know, there's places that are particularly harmful for kids, but a lot of the conversation was like, you know, leave it alone for yesterday, the Martin Luther King holiday, as well as the presidential inauguration in the United States. I guess I didn't find out about it until afterward, because I guess I look at different stuff. But I guess you were supposed to, like, you know, give yourself a rest from all of it, because we do have the onslaught of, hold on a second, sorry. We do have the onslaught of Trump crap coming nonstop every day. In fact, right before I started watching this, trying to get in the right state of mind, I was watching some comedy routine, and they were saying that Trump was on the television on the first day of his presidency for 15 hours, so from 8 a.m. until 11:30 at night. Or no, I guess it was the day of the inauguration, excuse me, because the end of the night was the party, I guess where the Village People played. So, yeah, it was, I don't know. That's all I saw. I know that there was dancing to the Village People. Oh, that was right. The weird thing is, I don't know if you've ever been on stage, but I used to be a performer. and a guitar player in bands, and so there are lights that spotlight you and highlight you on the stage, because generally the audience portion of the room is dark, so they can see you because you're the one that's on stage. For some reason, Trump and his family, and I don't know who else, a bunch of people, like extras, were on the stage, and I'm like, was it one of those like bar type stages that's only like this tall? And so yeah, you are like, or no stage at all sometimes, where you just face to face, and the people are like so close to you. It's like, my God, I can smell your breath back up. Like, that's kind of, as the performer, you want to be like separated like that. That's part of the performance, in my opinion. But I don't think it was like that. I think it was like a ballroom with a proper bandstand, like a stage, and for some reason they were all up on the stage right in front of the band, so that the performer, the police guy, the police character, was trying to look at kept trying to look around them at the audience, the other people in the place, and it was just like, wow, you do know there's other people there, right? It's like that Miranda Lambert concert. Like, those people felt so entitled to just stand up and sing along and take selfies and be flashing the cameras while she's up there trying to like concentrate and get in a mood and in a state of mind. Like, I get it. So I was just like, wow, that's so like, how do you not notice how off that is? Do you ever see that? Unless you're in a funky punk rock club. Like, that's not right. That's just not how you act. That's, wow. That's a mindful of yourself and nobody else, apparently, but that is not a surprise to many people. Like, it's not the what they just did, what I just described, that's a heck of a surprise, but when I think about where it's coming from, not so much. Sadly. I mean, I don't know. I guess the prevailing feeling now is that kind of stuff is perfectly okay. Just like crime is not illegal anymore. Unless you're a rich person complaining about the poor people criming because they feel a lot of things that, I don't know if they're directly connecting it to the rich people, because a lot of them seem real young. Boy, that's something I'm thinking about, but I need to think about it way more before I start talking about it here. But boy, I sure plan to, because the youth, I was expecting other things from them, but I'm thinking maybe I'm not understanding what I'm seeing. Just like the rich people that I was just talking about, like so horrified when there's like, you know, when like a bunch of people show up and flash rob a department store. It's a reaction to, it's a reflection, actually. Like, that's how it looks to us, so that's what you're getting back. And I say us and include myself. Well, I'm not gonna go steal stuff. I'm not gonna join in that. I'm not gonna go, like, you know, eliminate any CEOs. I don't have the desire, the inclination, or the tool, the hardware. But I understand where it's coming from. And I've said a couple of times lately, like, you guys are asking for it, man. You better watch it. You, like, when you keep on, you're going to have trouble if you keep acting that way. And then not long after that, we lost Brian Thompson. So, yeah, I'm laughing, but not right now. Like, I understand that it's very serious, because, like, things happen. I don't mean to minimalize it, but it's not a minimal thing. Like, think like that. It didn't happen for no reason. Like, if you can't understand it, I don't know why, because the dude wrote it out. He's still there to talk about why he did it. And it came out later that that wasn't even his insurance company, but they're like, I guess, the worst of them. And then right after that, with completely no self-awareness, a video gets leaked out between, I guess, shareholders and the company. Like, don't worry. I don't know. It just seemed like they were, but we hardly let them have any coverage for their money or like what their health actually needs. Like, we non-doctor people interfere with treatment and actually maybe cause more deaths than just the one that happened to our CEO. But that's not like part of their calculation. They're calculating ducats. That's what their calculation seems to be, and it's not. It's an industry-wide thing. So I don't know what you expected, especially like in the country where only up until only recently, and probably it will be reinstated, you could buy just guns at Walmart or Kmart. Although I don't think Kmart exists anymore anywhere. But you get it. The accessibility to the weapons is unimpeded, and they're everywhere. Everyone has them. So, nothing that's happened since Columbine should be surprising, because it all kind of comes from the same place. With the kids, it's especially messed up, but it's nurture. There's a lot of nurture that comes out in people's natures. So the subtitle on this card is groupthink, and did you see that? Did you see that? What, are you afraid I'm gonna expose you to the light? Look at this picture. It's like, no wonder I couldn't get it in focus. The picture, the illustration on the card is not in focus very much itself. It's all these images sort of shoving around, almost like I was talking about those people behind Trump, for like the prime position to be seen in the best possible light. And that's, a bunch of minds full of themselves shoving around, and the prize ends up being who can make the most money off of like the little people. The people who, for instance, these are not such little people, I'm gonna say, but because they were able to afford inauguration tickets. But they say because of the cold on the news that it got moved inside. I have not heard anything out of the Trump people about why it got moved inside. So I think that's probably the reason. And people are like, oh, they're always outside. And he did the last one outside, and maybe he remembers, you guys, he's old. You don't want to be putting your old bones out in the freezing ass cold. So that's why I think, there definitely were probably threat assessments that brought it inside, because I don't think that's ever going to go away with this guy. They don't tell us those things, like after the presidents are gone, like dead or something, they'll be all, there was 70,000 death threats, or they had to like take action to prevent some sort of attack against the president. So I have no doubt that that's not going to stop. It'll probably, as time goes on, become more so. And from the sources that, well, I won't be surprised, because I've been expecting some way too far in advance for MAGA to turn on him. Since before there was a MAGA, I was like, do they get it yet? Do they get it? Do they get it? I don't know if that's ultimately what it has to come to, that the MAGA lose faith in him and then get mad at him and his family, and maybe his ilk, all of this, because something needs to be different about that whole situation, where like I was saying, there's this outright hostility for the public. So this was a number 4, so there's a triangular hillside in the background. I was gonna say the 4 is like there is a foundation underneath all of this mishigas, so to speak. And like the base of a pyramid is very stable, but I don't know, maybe at the tippy top it's kind of like so funny. There's a pyramid back there. Okay, this card is number 25, and that is a 7. A 7 actually is like, well, you relate it to spirit in some ways, because there's, I guess, lots of numbers or some other numbers that you relate to spirit, but it is, I feel like, a number of good luck and good fortune. And so this card is the Garden of Venus, which is, I think, aspirational. Oh, it's out of order. I think I pulled them out of order. Well, that's okay. You know that now. So, yeah, it's aspirational. And, oh, maybe it's not. And, the bright light there is natural. And, although, I did say the bright light is everything, and it doesn't necessarily refer to focus. That's more of like an actual hands-on type of thing. But what you see in the background is sort of your fairy tale looking castle, and then there's like all this bountiful, it's like up on a beautiful hill, so it can like overlook its sort of kingdom there, and all of the bountiful lands around, which I guess begin here or something. And like I said, it's just kind of that fairy tale thing where like, oh, the castle and it's all good, and as a symbol there's nothing wrong with that. And the subtitle is Rest and Renewal. So I guess I know we'll get there, if only by cycle alone. We'll get to a place where we're not all argy-bargy and killy and stuff, gunny and stabby. But, this is the place where you end up, like, after it's all over, or that you dream of going to after it's all over. So, like I said, you have an aspiration, and I guess the spiritual aspect of the 2 and the 5 making the 7 is you just gotta, like, kind of do your part, but, like, also surrender to, like, just let it happen how it's gonna happen, and like not make such a fuss, like that you're like a disturbance in the force. You want to like go with the flow in the force, and that's because I think that would ensure your most beneficent outcome if it's done with like authenticity and compassion. And like, it can't just be about, me. It can't just be about, like, one person or people making it so that everything else that is the result of all these other people, many, many, many other people, that you can't just take their accomplishment and effort away and, make it yours, or, like, deprive them of that and everything else, and blame them for everything that's wrong, and be like angry at them about it. It's like, boy, we're just like, used for everything under the sun, and we don't get no respect. Like, what is that? So the next card is number 47 card, which is 11. And there's the 11 pillars So maybe we got an 1111 here, but this is the Skybridge card. And the subtitle is The Possibility of Union, which in the 1111 sort of twin flame world, that is like twin flame reunion. So the masculine and the feminine coming together, and not, I'm gonna go with the symbolic here, like not like two people like coming together just to get married. The masculine and the feminine aspects of each of us, when they're out of alignment, you kind of have what we have right now. Like too much masculine is a lot of anger, is a lot of aggression, is a lot of I don't want to know, I don't want to know, I just want to know what I know, and what I know is right, even if it's not, but they don't want to look, and you can't talk to them, and they can't be reasoned with. Just sort of all of the sort of dark column of human behavior, and it's not, it doesn't really work until we find a way to sort of integrate with each other. But to do that, and this is really hard to understand, but I understand it better now than I did when I first came across the idea. In order to reflect your best light from yourself, you have to have that inside of yourself. That it takes development. Like any other skill or ability benefits from practice. So, you know, on a personal note, in this climate, there's a lot of like talking, like crosstalk, and it's shit talk basically. And I left Twitter the day before the election, or X, whatever, for a number of reasons, which it doesn't even matter. It just became like sort of a place I didn't want to be, which makes me sad because I think there are still people there that I really would love to be able to see their content, but maybe they'll make the move. I don't know. Maybe they will stay there. But I feel like at Blue Sky, where I went, the climate is different, although I don't really like the idea of people all fleeing from X to there, because they're going to bring that X energy, which I left X to get away from. And my particular feed at X wasn't horrible. Like, I wasn't getting all of these right-wing things that people were complaining about, and it wasn't terrible. It was what I do at Blue Sky too, which is share funny, beautiful, fascinating stuff, music, art, you know, film stuff. But it's a happy vibe. I like to keep it light. So I don't want anybody that's too like overly insistent about Democrats or Republicans or the right or the left and what's wrong with them and sniping and all the name calling. Like, I don't want that. I didn't have it in my feed on X, and I don't want it on Blue Sky. I have some on Facebook, but Facebook has this awesome snooze function. So yeah, anyway, Blue Sky also has a mute function and a block function, and I'm not using the mute because that seems like kind of like, yeah, I'll let you be able to see my stuff, but I don't want to have nothing to do with you. I don't want to give that. I just block, you know, and maybe I will come to regret that loss later if I learn something about the people that I blocked outside of Blue Sky, that you can also unblock people. But, you know, you can shape your feed to be however you want, you know, and there's lots of options, which I'm not availing myself of because I don't want to figure out what it is. I'm happy just like looking at the general feed that comes in and you know, putting my own, whatever I have to say, output on there, content, it's fine. I got other stuff going on. I want to be learning a whole bunch of new stuff. Anyway, I'm getting way off the point. So, but the thing is like, when you can reconcile within yourself your masculine and your divine masculine and your divine feminine, then you become more settled, more able to withstand, stormy climates and natures. And because, I had written a piece the other day talking about how it's some people, because of the climate here in America, want to like escape and go somewhere else. And I get it. I mean, I want to go away from all of everything I was talking about that's in that sort of like dark column. And the thing about reconciling those things within yourself makes you love them and yourself more. And when you introduce more love into anything, it just is better. And so when you can go out in the world with that sort of built-in confidence and self-assurance, then other people are going to want to emulate you, because monkey see, monkey do. That's how we are. They'll want to know, like, what's up with you. And you can't necessarily, like, in words just say, hey, this is what I did, go try this. Like, there's so much that you have to come to on your own. But if they are interested enough to ask, they're going to take what you said to heart and then go. And then who knows, they may be, next thing you know, over there reconciling their inner masculine and feminine. And that is a form of resistance that is not outwardly fighting and aggressive and hostile. Like, there are asymmetrical ways to approach this situation. There always is, there always are. What just came to mind is that 60s TV show called Hogan's Heroes, and it was like a comedy adaptation of a famous Nazi movie, World War II Nazi movie, and they made a comedy out of it. But I think about how they were in the prison, like these allies in this German prisoner camp, and there was an American, there was a German, there was a French guy, there was I guess another American, but they all just were sort of like these representatives of all of the countries, like in the context of this show. And so they were always like, they could have left, they always could have got out, you always sort of knew that. But then they like stayed because the camp was having some thing like a party in the cafeteria. Like, it's such a gallows humor, like such a dark joke. Like, no, there was no ice cream social at these things. Like, they probably didn't go through the same treatment as the other one. I don't know how that, I could look it up. I don't want to. Anyway, neither did the show, because it was dark, and it was after all of that ended, and people just needed to process it. And thank goodness for comedy, because it helps with that. It's like so good to have around, even though people that don't have a sense of humor hate it and want to get rid of it. You're never going to be able to eradicate that. Keep acting the way you're acting. It'll just be a comedy whack-a-mole. So give it up. And that's why you don't think stuff is funny, is because you don't have those two towers of masculinity and femininity resolved within yourself. Sorry, I don't mean to harangue. So Skybridge is the name of this card, and it says possibility for union. Union within yourself could lead to union between peoples, because they maybe want to feel calmer and happier, even though all this shit's going on. And people might look at that and go, how do you do it? And then you can say, this great way. So, oh, I didn't know I pulled this one too. This is the number 64 card. 6 and 4 is 10. So that is the completion for our number 9, I guess. And it's interesting that this, I'm going to take from this, that the background appears to be very, very well lit. It is making me think of the fires in LA, but it's not really that color. Although, I don't know, I've never been in the woods, in the woods fire, so I don't really know, like, what the heck goes on in there. But as light, it's just sort of like maybe the leading edge of fire coming. And you have to think about that, because the wood wife is wooden, flammable. The wood wife has so much more meaning, but I will come back to that someday, not today. The subtitle, the wood wife herself, I should say, I guess is like, if you think of a controlled burn that like the indigenous people used to do, she's got her hat, she's got an ember there in front of her on her sort of stump desk, and it almost looks like she's gonna like grab up some stuff and like vacate the premises because, you know, maybe there is a fire coming. So why she would have a fire herself control burn? Like, she's humanoid and she's wood, but you know, apparently she's got to eat, or she's got to have light, whatever. She's got that red treasure there that you can see. She's like, it looks like she's about to scoop it up, you know, and she's got on like her travel sun hat or something. So not frightened inordinately, just like, okay, gotta go, I know what's coming. Subtitle on this card is adaptability. So in a world where there's always going to be stuff that can catch on fire, it will catch on fire. I have, of course, the LA fires on my mind because they're still going on for, I don't know, like the 3rd or 4th consecutive week now, and people have been having to like put on their adaptability hats and hit the road. You know, make a run for it. So they knew what was coming, and they could get out of the way, and there are resources. Another thing about reconciling perhaps warring genders inside of yourself is, once you have your shit settled, basically, you can then focus on what's going on outside of you. Like, you can shine your light in a beautiful and positive way, and, you know, be a helper to these people that have lost so much, instead of doing that weird thing the Republicans were doing, which was like blaming all kinds of weird forest fire stuff, forest management. They did it all wrong. It's like, there might have been patches of greenery, but it's LA is like hella apartments and houses. What? It was just such a weird deflection, and so heartless, and so like, I'm gonna make points on this because that's gonna make me look good. It's like, wow, just make it all about you. And it was like, so little happened to you, except a lot of the people talking probably lost some desperately needed funding, and they're out there saying all of that, and it's just like, wow, you couldn't miss it. I mean, they were literally under like Klieg light, camera lights, saying that, and proud and angry. And it's just like, especially the one from New Orleans, is like, dang, dude, your state routinely gets slammered by hurricanes, and everybody runs to your rescue and loves you people up. And how are you like this? Where in the world is your heart? Where in the world is Carmen San Diego hat? This is not really it. This looks more like one of those straw things you put a flower pot in, and she decided to wear it for a hat. Maybe those are dual functionality. I don't know. Sorry. So, okay, that's something else I wanted to touch upon before I do this last card, and that is the susceptibility to join in on the sniping. Because while I understand that there's a feeling that the election went so wrong, and it really does feel rigged, and there's reason to believe that, which I believe will come out into the light, since Mr. President was out there shooting off his mouth about exposing everything. I don't think the exposure is over with. I don't think he realized he was exposing himself as he said it. Who knows? The Lord works in mysterious ways. But it is hard to be like the most pious individual and not join in, especially when it's something funny. So I do try to stay away from like direct name calling. I try to call out like a bad situation rather than people personally, because it's just like not the greatest climate to be attacking people personally if you don't want to be doxxed and further harassed by strangers when you go out in public. So I try to stay away from that, but sometimes it's just funny, and sometimes you just think of a thing that it feels like just the right moment to say it. And a lot of times I say stuff and it gets like 0 views, 0 reaction, but I don't know how they're measuring the views. Like, what if somebody clicks on it, something that just went by? I don't know how that works, but I feel like it gets seen out there. Like, it still gets exposure. It gets where it needs to go. But also, words can hang with you like a stain, like a tattoo, if they, happen to hit the target, and how do you sort of respond to that or how you respond to that? Well, that's a time to really be using your tempering switch. Like, is responding in kind what you actually want to do? Is that the light you want to show yourself in? Or, like I was saying about the simulation, if you're going to look at it that way, and also reincarnation, it sort of does and doesn't matter what you do. Because if you do something that even is sort of in the negative column, then that's a choice, and also something that is going to fit into the whole narrative in some way, not necessarily clear to you or anyone around you at the time. It's certainly, I'm not describing it as intentional necessarily, but not on that level. I'm sure there would be intention involved, but here and now is just the chance that we have to acquit ourselves in the best way possible, to show ourselves in the best light, and then also to, like, in order to keep it light, not take everything so dang personal, and that you have to do the full Inigo Montoya thing about it and make it your blood feud vendetta for life. Like, oh my God, exhausting for everyone. So temper your reaction, I would say. It's up to you. You have the inner authority to do that. So, final card is number 10, another 10. 2 ones make an 11. I love the recurring 11 because I have good feelings about that number. Deep diver, diving into a task. So, I don't know how I didn't notice this before, and I don't know why I didn't notice this either. There's a jellyfish on one side and also what looks like an angelfish, which I don't know why I'm thinking this way, but I tend to think of angelfish as aquarium fish, fish tank fish. Well, that came out weird, didn't it? Aquarium. It's these teeth, man. But yeah, but I also know that they exist in the wild, and I think they get pretty big. I don't know, just look at the picture, like, where is my indicator? I get all bent out of shape if I can't do my thing with my thing. My special thing. Where is it? There it is. Whoa, look at this. What is that? Oh. There's a jellyfish, right? Nope, that's the angelfish. Look how small it is. If she's diving in, it's not an aquarium, right? Not like a home aquarium. It's so small. And there's a jellyfish. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's like a perspective thing, because I have no problem with, okay, the jellyfish is whatever size, because perspective. She's big, it's small, it's back there. Same with this, but I don't know why my brain is stuck on the angelfish like that. I don't know, but their adaptability comes to mind. They could be in some body of water. I don't think they're saltwater fish, though, but what am I saying? It's in there with a jellyfish. I'm just trying to remember if the tanks that my friend had them in were saltwater, and I'm pretty sure they didn't have that. I don't know. It's not important, I guess. Maybe it is to someone, but I can't figure it out. So, boy, why am I procrastinating? I'm not trying to. The funny thing about this is, in order to, let me just say it, not gonna say it. I feel like the task that we need to dive into is to kind of really, like, master that control of our inner genders, specifically for the purpose of being like this being of light that is sort of just walking around and through, the world that is going crazy and is kind of dark, like similar to the crow, but the black bird was dark, but that is like, those birds, ravens and crows, are so intelligent. Magpies, I'm sure, and their dark color leads us to, like, I think mistake them and take them for what they're not, because they're resourceful and they're strong, which is kind of what the first card illustrates. Like, it's just standing there like, yeah, I'm getting a couple of feathers knocked off me, and it's like turbulent out here and makes me feel turbulent inside, which could be more of a reflection of us, that sort of inner turmoil, but they've got it mastered. So they're able to stand there in that dark world and just be like, yeah, it's no problem. Like, it's meant to be here. I'm meant to be here. The darkness is meant to be here. And the light is also meant to be here. And so we're reminded of our own adaptability to be in darkness and in light. But, in balance with it, So it's interesting that to contemplate and like sort of on the down low figure out ways to cope with the situation, so because you might have to be like Hogan's Heroes in the prisoner camp and present as one way, like, yeah, we're here just doing our jobs and showing up where we need to be, and go team Starbucks or whatever the hell, like, we're making all the money for you, so nothing to see here. And then, like, on the other hand, you're deep under, like, sort of in the dark for a time, working out, like, how can we do better? How can we be bester? Let's move beyond being best and be bester. Right in front of their faces, just like all those people behind the president on the dais. Boom, boom. Thank you and good night.